be part of your morning today. And just great to be joining you. And today, what we're going to be talking about is today we're going to be looking at the idea of progress or transformation. And before I set this up, just important, like life should have some sense of progress to it. I want to be clear about that. So I don't want to poo-poo progress, but I want to kind of put it in a different context, and that's a context where we see transformation as the real name of the game. So what we've been looking at is we've been going through the book Secrets of Heaven, which is a biblical commentary, a canonical biblical commentary we use here in the Christian New Church faith. And we've been looking at different parts of it. We're looking at a book, Secrets of Heaven, 1811 today. And we're looking at this line, and Abraham believed in Jehovah, and Jehovah God credited it to him as righteousness. That's a Genesis quote from Genesis. And we look at these and it's like, all right, so here's the superficial level of it, and this is about Abraham actually believing God's promise that there's going to be good stuff that comes out of life. There's going to be generative parts that happen. There's going to be legacy things that happen. And here's this promise, and then within this promise then comes down to a belief, belief that these things are actually true. And it's not just a belief on our part. This may sound a little strange. It's a belief on God's part. And when Swedenborg talks about, Mayor Swedenborg talks about this, like, what does it mean that line that Abraham, that he believed in Jehovah, believed in God? It's because God has this particular perspective towards life. It's one that we can really kind of embed our belief in, embed our faith in, and it's a beautiful concept. Like, just imagine faith literally planted in this concept. Let me read it to you. Uh, God did this with the constant, deepest trust and faith that He would inevitably win. Talking about the Easter story here, because He was fighting for the salvation of the entire human race, motivated by pure love. That is what believing in Jehovah or God is about. So that idea, folks, like that line is really powerful. It's that idea that we can trust that God's endeavor is to save everyone. And that idea, the word we might think is healing. That's probably lands better on our modern ears. And that this motivation behind this was just pure love. So let's attach this back into progress versus transformation. God, the Lord, is doing way up here at this level, and in our very teeny tiny little infinitesimally imperfect, very human, two steps forward, one step back, not great all the time way, we're supposed to, as best we can, mirror that basic approach. So what does that mean? Well, that means that we mirror the approach of, look, no matter what happens in life, let's bring to it this idea of that we are going to do the best we can to love everyone, and to believe everyone can be healed somehow, that we can, and maybe we can be like a tiny little piece of God's plan in their healing journey. They're really out there to try to just bring healing out there into the world. Not again, us way up here as the doctors, them way down here as the patient, but just the idea that we're to be a healing presence through just simple love, through mutual love. And that's really the key. That we can do. And it means, yes, that person who is a complete raging jerk, uh, we have to have faith that, oh yeah, they can be healed too. Absolutely. My job may not be to do it, but they can be healed too. And my job is to approach that person out of this sense of deep love, that's the ultimate reality, like that no one gets left out. No one gets left out. We get to do that part of our job. Why does that matter, folks? Well, I think about the self-improvement model, and the self-improvement model, sometimes we confuse that with church. Church is not about self-improvement. It's not a self-improvement model. Self-improvement will happen through church, obviously, but that's not the goal. And self-improvement to me always comes down to, really two messages: how do I make more money, and how do I weigh less? And then once you get rid of those two, it's hard to find much substance in the self-help movement. It can be good, but if it's just those two things, all right, so maybe I have a little more money, maybe I weigh a little less, so be it. That makes the self-help movement all about progress towards those particular goals. And the reality is, God's game is much bigger than that. It's about a transformation of our hearts, and a transformation of our hearts can be so incredibly powerful and important. That's the real lasting change. And it takes a lot. I even find myself like I'm constantly leaning towards like, well, I got to make progress in these areas. Nothing wrong with that. I always striving to weigh a little less, frankly. I always try to lean towards that. Not a bad thing, right? Not a bad thing at all. But then I have to lean back into what this journey is really all about. That leaning back into what this journey is all about. It's all about transformation. It's all about really learning how to be a loving being, as best and as humbly and as imperfectly as we all can. Because you know what? That's what it is to be an angel. That's going to be our eternal home, and we get to practice it right here and right now. So it's a pretty startling, theological concept that they're talking about here. Even though when we read it, it may seem pretty light. No, it's actually not. Understand that there is such a thing as progress. Progress is not bad. If you're working on losing weight, if you're working on finding a way to better support your family or whatever, that's all good. But understand that leaning out also has to be balanced by leaning back into what the real game is about, which is transformation. Heart of stone becomes heart of flesh, as is said many, many times, as it should be. So that's my thought for today, folks. I hope that makes sense. And holy cow, I totally forgot my phone. Uh-oh. So, so, yeah. So I am going to close with a little meditation here. And, let's do the meditation differently. I'm going to allow you to meditate while I scooch back into the house and enjoy a quick grab for my phone, and then I will be back. So I'm just going to ask you to just take a minute and just listen to the waves. I'm just going to start us with a breath. Then I'm going to scooch out of here, grab my phone, and I'll be right back. So let's all get a little breath. And just take 30 seconds and listen to the waves. All right, friends. So let's just do a little prayer together and then a blessing. Our Father, who art in the heavens, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, as in heaven, so upon the earth. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts, as we also forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. Amen. May the Lord bless you and keep you. May the Lord make his face to shine upon you and be gracious unto you. May the Lord lift up his countenance upon you, bring you peace, and bring you home. Amen. All right, dear friends, let's give a little cheery hello to those people who are joining us live this morning. All right, Marcus, good morning to you, buddy. I hope you're doing quite well. Let's flip on over onto this page here. Boop. There we go. And a couple more comments over here. Linda, good morning to you. Linda writes, beautiful, thank you. Well, you are welcome. And Sherry writes, healing presence is a nice concept, easy to remember. And I think, folks, that is like, a pastor friend of mine talks a lot about being an unanxious presence. That comes from Rabbi Thomas Friedman. And an unanxious presence, a healing presence, it's just that simple reminder. It's going to be okay. It really is going to be okay. I kind of know that in my core, and I imagine most of you watching it do too. At a level we know it's all going to be okay. So, friends, have a great rest of your day, and we will see you again tomorrow for 10 minutes of morning calm. God bless. Take care. Bye-bye.